2 weekends, they'll be celebrating the 75th anniversary of the opening of the Golden Gate Bridge. We're in San Francisco, AT&T Park, and tonight, it's the world champion St. Louis Cardinals as they'll take on the San Francisco Giants in a brief 2-game set. It's a 5-game road trip that begins tonight. Yadier Molina will come off the bench for Mike Matheny's club, but one of the big bats is in there for St. Louis, and that's Alan Craig. And welcome to baseball, everyone. Welcome to San Francisco, along with my partner, Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. And you think about two teams that are coming off, one, a very good win, the other one, a crushing loss, and that's St. Louis and San Francisco. We start with the Cardinals. Big win yesterday.
Much needed win as they win late. A walk-off base hit by Yadier Molina. Knocked him down, and now he knocks them out with a shot to right field, scoring Holiday, and a 7-6 win for the Cardinals, stopping their losing streak.
On the other side, Marco Scutaro, the former Boston Red Sox, he comes through here with a home run in the 9th inning. And this is a game that Tim Lincecum started. They've had their issues here in San Francisco, and this season they are at the 500 mark. Will it carry over to tonight? Yadi's big walk-off win. We'll talk about Yadi maturing behind the plate and at the plate when we come back. Two catchers inside that Cardinals dugout tonight. Yadier Molina still active. He's not in the lineup this evening. He'll come off the bench. He has 4 Gold Gloves. Mike Matheny with ties to San Francisco. He does have a Gold Glove that he won here in 05. He is now the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. And when you think about Yadier Molina, as we get a look at some of his highlights, it's his defense that really stands out. His anticipation. We know about the cannon arm, but also the way that he moves behind the plate, Al. He's really improved that aspect.
Everything that goes on in the game, he's fully aware of. Can really handle the pitching staff. He almost stops the running game, but he has evolved into a very good offensive player. Had the walk-off hit in yesterday's ball game. That was the 4th of his career. Occasional power, but he has developed in such a total package. He is looking at a possibility of the Hall of Fame.
That man is in the lineup. Lance Berkman, he's at first base. We'll take a look at the matchup on the mound when we come back. The classic urban ballpark with an old-time feel. It's AT&T Park here in San Francisco. Game 1 between the Giants and the Cardinals. It's a pair of lefties tonight, and Jaime Garcia gets the call for St. Louis.
Jaime trying to correct his mistakes. He is a terrific pitcher when he keeps the ball down. Great movement. You see his last 4 starts, 0-4. Has not won a game in nearly a month. Madison Bumgarner on the other side. He is on quite a roll. He's won 8 straight games at home. He's a left-hander that really likes to attack the inside part of the plate to right-handed batters. He's a good one.
Garcia trying to go to 3-2. Bumgarner, he's looking for his 6th win already. It's a battle in the Bay, the Cards and Giants, as we edge closer to our first pitch. The defending champs are coming off a disappointing homestand, stumbling for the first time this year. But despite the recent struggles, the Redbirds remain first in the division. St. Louis now heads west. They'll start in San Francisco tonight, taking on one of baseball's brightest young stars in Madison Bumgarner, as well as the rest of the 2010 World Series champion Giants. After San Francisco, they'll head towards Hollywood for 3 games against the Dodgers. LA will be without star center fielder Matt Kemp, but Andre Ethier is healthy and just as hot. Cardinals are California dreaming, starting tonight. First pitch against the Giants. Next on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Lime. Summer is calling. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. Last 2 World Series champs meeting in San Francisco tonight and AT&T Park. Here's a look at Shane Robinson. His right arm up in the air without the cap. He is in the lineup tonight, as well as Lance Berkman. Intriguing lineup, though, to say the least, for Mike Matheny, with no Yadier Molina and no Carlos Beltran. Beltran finished up last year here in San Francisco. So here's how it reads for Mike Matheny: for Cal, Green, and Holiday. Then Craig, Berkman, and Freese, Robinson, Cruz, and Garcia. No bats that hit from the left side against this very tough lefty, Madison Bumgarner. And Madison is not only very good overall, but he is particularly tough right here at home.
No doubt about that, as he's 8-0 in his last 8 decisions here at home, trying to win for the 6th time. Good ERA at 2.80. He'll work deep into a ball game. They really are relying on their pitching, and he throws from a 3/4 angle, but really does repeat his delivery quite well.
Taking a look at this 4-seam fastball, the lefty of the San Francisco Giants, it can be very, very tough. As Furcal was getting a look at it, this is brought to you by Plaza Tire Service, and that's part of that repeatable delivery that they talk about, Al. You want to have that time and again, and the Giants feel that he does that.
And you see the 3/4 there, that fastball. He gets a little movement running in on the right-handed batters, and he really does like to attack the glove side. So what we mean by that is the real measure of a successful pitcher is, can you throw successfully to your glove side? In this case, can you get inside on the right-handed batters?
Here's a look at the defense with Blanco, Pagan, Schierholtz in right. Burris, Crawford, Culberson, and Brett Pill is at first. Buster Posey, it's good for baseball to see him back behind the plate and healthy this year. Giants defense is brought to you by Dobbs. Not exactly household names when you think about the San Francisco Giants. They do not hit. They don't hit with runners in scoring position. They've committed 41 errors. They had 3 last night. But one thing they can do is they can flat out pitch.
They can pitch. Their whole spent the majority of their money on their pitching staff. But they really are playing with a lot of their AAA team.
The strike at the knees to Rafael Furcal. Bruce Bochy, longtime San Diego manager, former big league catcher, and now the manager of the San Francisco Giants. He's in his 6th year here in San Francisco after 12 years down south in San Diego.
And now with the retirement of Tony La Russa, he's the most tenured manager in the National League. With that 18 consecutive years at the helm.
Very chilly night, as you might expect here in San Francisco. The long sleeves are out, the coats are on in the bullpen, and in the dugout it's 53 degrees and very breezy here at the ballpark. Furcal breaks his bat, little looper into center for a leadoff base hit. Hasn't been pretty yesterday and again tonight, but he's finding a way to get on. And here's a look at the replay for Furcal, the Chevy Fox Tracks.
The ball coming right in, just sawing off the bat handle. Bumgarner only 22 years of age.
Tyler Green, 3 hits and a walk yesterday. Missed the cycle by a home run. Very streaky right now, Tyler Green. He gets a start at second base. You would have to figure out that runs very well could be at a premium tonight, so we'll see if Green puts down a bunt for Colin action.
And pitchers love to pitch on nights like this. Very cold. Bumgarner has that ability to get in on the batters, and they don't want to swing that bat when you're going to have the sting. Talk about their pitching staff and how good it is. Bumgarner's a number 3, but he would be a number 1 on many clubs and 2 on everybody else.
Matt Cain tomorrow, then Tim Lincecum will be your number 1 on paper. Here's a ground ball. That's a base hit just inside the third base line for Tyler Green. Furcal on his way to third. Green in with a stand-up double here in the first inning.
A lot of the success for the St. Louis Cardinals is before their starting pitcher takes the mound on the road. He already has a little cushion, a few runs to work with, and Cardinals off to a great start here. See, well off the line, even with the step and a dive, he couldn't come near that ball and get down the line there. It's going to be sure extra bases.
There was a knock as you get a look at the numbers for Holiday this year against Bumgarner. Last season, he was susceptible to big innings. 3 or more runs in an inning 9 different times. 4 or more, he had that 5 different times. They say once that 1 or 2nd run comes in, many times he comes unglued, but then gets it back going after that.
Not surprising. That's a sign of a young pitcher. Doesn't know how to quite stop the bleeding. He can regroup once again, gets in the dugout, but sometimes you'll be dwelling on what's happened and you'll make a careless pitch to the next batter or two while you're still thinking about the base hit you just gave up.
Runners at 2nd and 3rd. Holiday taps it foul. This field is beat up right now. They had a concert over the weekend. The stage in center field, so the grass is different colors where the seating was, where the stands were, the platform for the stage. And some of the players having issues over the weekend against Colorado. Their footing in the outfield. 2-2 the count on Holiday. Good to see Buster Posey back in action.
Nasty injury last year, ankle injury, and need him to return to his 2010 form. Also need to get the Panda, Kung Fu Panda back out there. And it's good the Cardinals are missing him.
Freddie Sanchez dealing with a back issue, former batting champ. And at the back end of their games, one of the best when he's healthy, Brian Wilson, but he is done for the year. Many teams can say that.
Yeah, Romo's done a good job. He was a premier setup man, and now he's taken over the back end of the bullpen for Bruce Bochy. But they're really just trying to hold their own for the next couple weeks until they start getting some of their injured players back.
Here's a 2-2 to Matt Holiday. Just missed. Doug Ennings is calling the balls and strikes tonight. Dana DeMuth is at first. He's the crew chief. Just outside, according to Fox Tracks. Kerwin Danley is at first, and Paul Newart is at 2nd. 3-2 now the count on Matt Holiday. Matt, no stranger to San Francisco in this ballpark. His time in the National League West in Colorado. "3-2 is line to 2nd. Bumgarner catches a break and a rocket hit to 2nd base.
Best hit ball of the 3 Cardinal batters, and wouldn't you know it, it's a line drive out.
Well, just how good is Alan Craig? Is this the kind of hitter that he will be consistently? Right now he's hitting .404. You know that will drop, but you think about the production, the 5 home runs, the 18 RBIs, and he's in right field tonight.
It's unbelievable. He's kind of a little bit of a reunion. He's from Southern California, but he went to school at Cal, so up here in the Bay Area.
When he played up here, he was a shortstop, and now we see him in left, right, to play a little third. We've seen him at 2nd base and also at first. The Cardinals are concerned with Carlos Beltran enough to keep him out of the lineup again tonight. And we'll have more on that situation with Jim Hayes in the 3rd inning. But Carlos is out, but available to pinch hit. 1-0 pitch. Craig bounces it to short. A run will score as Green is in a rundown. It's 1-0 St. Louis. RBI for Craig, his 19th. It goes 6-5 on the fielder's choice, and for Kyle scoring the first run of this series. In steps the switch hitting Lance Berkman. Does not have great numbers in his career against the San Francisco Giants. Overall this year, 344.
Not surprising that a great hitter would have trouble against a very good pitching staff.
Isn't it amazing, Al, when you were playing, they were known for their pitching. And throughout the years, they've had just unbelievable pitchers come through their system. And it continues today.
Had some great hitters over the years also, but as you said, dominance by the pitching staff. And that's so true today with the lack of offense. You know, they don't have one outfielder, you know, the starting outfielder from the World Championship team, and they had to import 2 guys. I wouldn't say are going to be dramatic players. Cabrera and also Angel Pagan were the 2 additions this offseason. Melky Cabrera was a late season scratch. I was talking with Tony Siegel, assistant general manager, and when he heard that Melky Cabrera is out with an injury, late scratch, he goes, "That's our last player."
Strikeout of Berkman. Cardinals pick up a run as we head to the home half of the first here in San Francisco. Giants lineup: Gregor Blanco, then Culberson and Pagan. The former Met. Buster Posey bats cleanup. Pill, Shireholtz, Crawford, Bumgarner. Page out of Tony La Russa's book, the pitcher batting 8th, and then Emmanuel Burris is batting 9th. Jaime Garcia. Which Jaime will we see tonight?
Great question. Wish you knew. There's one that pitches at home very well, one that has a little more trouble on the road. If anything, I think Jaime really tries to, it's kind of an awkward statement, but tries too hard. That he's kind of a perfectionist. He should simplify his game a little bit more and just not worry about things that are beyond his control.
And kind of following up on your point here, Al, trying so hard, he is very hard on himself. But those are the things that, as you mature, and talking with the coaching staff of the Cardinals yesterday about Jaime Garcia, as he goes along in his career, the stuff is going to get better and better, and he'll learn to deal with those situations better and better.
It's a great attribute, but at times it can be harmful.
As you mentioned, Gregor Blanco is now in left field. Melky Cabrera was supposed to start there, and Cabrera has been one of their top offensive threats this year. Al, this is a lineup that last season, with runners in scoring position, they hit just 173. That stat began 37 years ago, and that's the lowest of any team in the history of that stat. 173 with runners in scoring position.
And an oddity in last night's game, they had 10 walks. They received 10 walks, struck out 10 times, and couldn't win.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Gregor Blanco, 293 with a home run and 8 RBIs.
Batter's trying to call time. He stepped out, and Garcia just stopped his motion.
If he completes it, it was not granted. Could have been a called 3rd strike. Sharply hit to second. Knocked down by Green. 1 away. Defense behind Garcia. Holiday, Robinson, and Craig in the outfield. Left side of the infield, MVP of the World Series last year, David Freese. Rafael Furcal at short, Green and Berkman on the right side. And Tony Cruz getting the start tonight with Garcia on the mound and Lance Berkman back in the lineup at first base. Charlie Culberson, second baseman. 1 for 11 this year in 3 games.
It was a double-A a year ago. 1 for 11, 4 strikeouts. Just recently recalled.
The 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Strikeout for Jaime Garcia. First of the night. And it leads us to our first bank first take. A look at what the Giants have done. And right now this season, the Giants, as we've talked about, they struggle offensively. ERA, though, a different story. 3.31. That's what keeps them in games.
And it's hard to even look at those numbers and figure out how they're a 500 ball club. All the errors committed, not hitting for much, in key situations, but Bruce Bochy does have that outstanding pitching, so it keeps you in every ball game.
The idea with Angel Pagan is that he would be at the top of the lineup. And if they weren't going to hit for power, which Brian Sabian knew that would be the case, they went for some speed. They picked up Pagan. At 32 steals last year, 37 the year before. That was 9th most in the big leagues the last 2 years. They'd love to have him at the top of the lineup. Instead, he's batting third. Freese makes the play. And David Freese will lead it off when we come back. Cardinals on top after an inning of play. It's 1-0. Toyota keys to the game. The best teams on the road. And St. Louis, second best right now in the National League, behind Atlanta. Braves helped their cause with the weekend in St. Louis. Sweeping Mike Matheny and the Cardinals. Talking with Mike, the team charter last night, Al. First time that he has been back to San Francisco since he played here and suffered a career-ending concussion. One of, by his count, he said, nearly 30. Playing the game of baseball, and Giants know all too well about these concussions because of Mike, and actually Buster Posey is going with a different helmet this year to try to alleviate any issues of a potential concussion.
Hockey mask, I guess they figure it deflects more. It's designed that you don't get the brunt of those foul tips right into the mask, and it kind of deflects it a little bit more. A bit more of a safety factor.
1-2 on the struggling David Freese, who is 0 for his last 16.
0 for a homestand. There were times in there that he did hit the ball sharply and nothing to show for it.
Watch Bumgarner, very smooth, very easy delivery towards the plate. David Freese had also in that series over the weekend, you get a look at what he's done on the road, but in the homestand, Al, a lot of ground ball outs, in particular him trying to pull the ball. Cardinals have emphasized going the other way, and he is so good at hitting the other way, hitting for power in that direction, that's the idea. They know that's when he's at his best. Hands back, patient, and going the other way.
But part of the problem is now everyone's working the inside, and so yes, you still can take an inside pitch in the opposite field, but you feel like you need to, swing with authority and get that ball off the inside part of the plate. There's going to be a lot of pitchers that won't get in there far enough, and he'll do damage against them.
Breaks his bat on the 3-2 pitch, and it's popped up. First out here in the top of the second.
Take a look at this foul tip brought to you Plaza Tire Service. See, it's inside right there. It fouls it off and gets both Posey and our home plate umpire.
In steps Shane Robinson. He and Buster Posey, two of the best baseball players to ever come out of Florida State, and that's saying something. terrific program that Mike Martin has had for a number of years. Shane, an outfielder, and Buster is an interesting story because he was a shortstop in college, and also he was a pitcher that threw in the mid-90s. But Mike Martin, the longtime head coach of the Seminoles, felt that Buster was such a good athlete that they needed a leader behind the plate. So lo and behold, Buster Posey becomes a catcher, and 2 years ago, one of the best.
Big-bodied shortstop.
The 5th overall pick in 2008 was Buster Posey. And last year was the nasty collision that fractured a bone in his lower left leg. That was the Marlins' Scott Cousins that delivered that blow. He had torn knee ligaments. He had torn ligaments in his ankle and a broken leg. Robinson hustling down the line. It's a foul ball. I'm curious about your thoughts on this, Al, because immediately Buster's agent came out and said, I think that rules need to be changed to protect catchers. Then Bruce Bochy said, I agree. And Bruce Bochy said, being a former catcher, that there's got to be some kind of rule to figure out how to protect the catchers to some extent. But collisions, as you well know, they've been a part of the game forever.
Well, I know Mike Matheny felt like there is a technique that protects catchers. It's one that he kind of used and perfected, and felt in that same collision that he wouldn't have gotten hurt if he would have used that technique.
Very tough to figure out how to do it. It's a gray area with that. Fans with peanut allergies can enjoy the game in a special peanut-free section. Be Sunday, June 10th. Cards and Cleveland Indians. It's very important for a lot of parents out there, and that is the kids' opening weekend at the ballpark all weekend long. So that's why we have the peanut allergies and a special peanut-free section June 10th, Sunday at the ballpark. Tony Cruz with a ground ball to second. And the Cardinals go 1-2-3. We're on the West Coast, game 1 of 5 away from home. St. Louis on top. Yadier Molina not in the starting lineup tonight, but his mentor kept him out, and for Yadi, he says he meant everything to him.
He was the way he helped me was, you know, like he teach me the way, the good way to be a good teammate, a good player, professional. That's why he teach me to be a professional in between the line and outside the line. I'm thankful that when I came up, he was here. I met him here. I met him in spring training. So he's a great guy when he was a player, and now he's a manager. So now great guy, still a great guy. So I'm happy to be here with him.
Yadier Molina talking about his manager Mike Matheny, who, by the way, holds the Major League catching record for consecutive errorless games at 252. So two of the best right there last decade or so, Al. Yadier Molina and Mike Matheny.
Mike Matheny did things the right way. You know, he was a terrific player and a student of the game, and when it was time to pass the torch, he didn't have any animosity towards Yadi. He just took him under his wing, taught him the right way, and Yadi will never forget that. And it's also one of the reasons why Mike Matheny has the job he has today.
Benji Molina spent time here and was right before the arrival of Buster Posey. Remember the Panda, they talked about him being a potential catcher at one point. And he is out. He's the one guy that can give you a little power in this lineup for San Francisco. Molina, by the way, 31 starts coming into play tonight, and only Miguel Montero has had more starts in all of Major League Baseball as far as catchers are concerned. This is Brett Pill, who's at first base tonight. This is an interesting guy for Bruce Bochy because first base has been a revolving door. You have Aubrey Huff, fan favorite at times. He's been dealing with some personal issues. Brandon Belt, most of the fans want to see him in there, but with a lefty on the mound, he is a lefty. He's out, so now you have Pill. And in the minor leagues, Pill was a second baseman because Belt was at first, and at times they're going to use Buster Posey at first base too. Al, he's already had 6 appearances over there.
Yeah, a lot of times they're trying to figure out the long-term positioning for Posey. He is such a good offensive player. Do you handicap him and hurt yourself by playing behind the plate? It's such a demanding position. Or would you be better off playing him at first?
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Off speed pitch, slowly hit. Freeze, bare hands, and throws to first, and he got him. Looked as if Garcia was going to try to get it. Made the wise decision to let it go, and when he did that, held up Freeze by just a little bit, made that play a little closer than it needed to be.
Yeah, much easier play for David Freeze, and shouldn't say easy because you do have to reach down barehanded, hold on to that ball, kind of let it roll down into your fingertips to where you get an accurate throw, and a difficult play that David made look quite easy.
Runner at second base, Buster Posey. Shearholtz, the right fielder. Big breaking ball and a strike.
Shearholtz is a very good outfielder, but the real question on him for a corner outfielder, can he hit for enough power? Never hit more than 9 home runs, but they're very happy with his defensive play.
Oh, 0-2. Giants won the World Series in 2010. Stayed in contention last year. They finished 86-76. And trying to finish above 500 for the 4th consecutive year here in 2012.
A lot of people predict that they are the best in the West. And the majority of that consideration is given to the pitching staff. But I think most critics or most experts were assuming they would stay healthier than they have.
0-2 is a ground ball right side. Easy play for Berkman. Steps on the bag. 2 down. So the last 2 World Series champions squaring off tonight. San Francisco and St. Louis. And the MVPs have a St. Louis flavor to them. David Freeze and Edgar Renteria, the former Cardinal. Phillies were beaten by both teams, and so was Texas. Bruce Bochy with plenty of experience, 3rd among active managers with nearly 1,400 wins, trailing only Jim Leyland and Dusty Baker.
And right now, Bruce is having trouble trying to find a lineup that he can throw out there and try and keep it competitive. They thought Crawford would be their shortstop, but the question with him, can he hit enough? Crawford was in the minor leagues, never hit better than 266. So how do you expect him to come up here and hit anywhere near that?
Pitcher batting 8th, that's Bumgarner. He's on deck.
It's not a tribute to Tony La Russa. Of course, Mike Krukow said because Bumgarner is a better hitter than Burris. It's not the compliment you want to talk about to your Burris, your tonight's 3rd baseman.
2-2.
Jaime's had trouble this season against left-handed pitching. Left-handed hitting, excuse me. I remember when he first came up, he was just absolutely dominant against left-handed hitters, and particularly keeping the ball in the ballpark. But this time they're over 350.
The 2-2. That is a bit surprising, isn't it? You would think that Garcia would have tremendous success against those lefties. Nasty breaking ball, all the movement that he possesses.
That's it. You know, he just got 4 pitches you got to think about, and he has the ability to really make those balls move. So it is surprising. Curveball here.
There it is, a swing and a miss. Garcia, the strikeout. That's number 2. Injury updates coming up with Jim Hayes when we return. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by MyKiaSt.Louis.com. And right now at Jack in the Box, you can try the new Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. City by the Bay, beautiful San Francisco, California. Cool night. Low 50 degrees. The breeze inside the ballpark, but not nearly as cold, Al, as some of the nights that we spent at Candlestick.
But still, you get a little bit of a mist and dampness that comes through this chilly night air, but nothing like Candlestick Point, where every time they brought out the brain trust to show them where they're going to put the respective ball club, they took them about 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was just absolutely perfectly still. But it started about 5:30, 6 o'clock. The winds would kick up there, and you know, I remember Whitey Herzog once said Giant fans are the best fans in baseball because they endure those conditions.
Then there are some nights that you have that are some of the best you could ever even imagine.
And there were times when you'd be out at batting practice, you go in to change your shirt and everything, and it's just a beautiful afternoon, and then you come out and you figure, what happened? What was the nuclear blast?
Ground ball to short, 1 away. Jim Hayes is with us. The Mad Hungarian Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. And this is game 1 of the 5 here in the West Coast. San Francisco for 2. And we head to Los Angeles beginning on Friday night. And Jim, we wonder about just how healthy this team is as we're back to the top of the lineup, and Rafael Furcal, namely 2 big stars and guys that are so vital to this team, Carlos Beltran and Yadier Molina. Let's start with Beltran. Where do we stand with him?
Well, as you guys noted, not in the lineup tonight, not in the starting lineup for the 3rd straight game. And Beltran says he's got the knee issue, said he feels a lot better today, but he said, when I come back, I want to be back, meaning it's a short-term thing. Mike Matheny saying with the cold air and the damp air, good night, to give him an extra day to make sure the knee's okay. There is a foot issue that Carlos has been dealing with as well that might be having an impact on the knee, but Mike Matheny saying no, there's no DL. This is just a day-to-day situation. He's shooting down any ideas that it's anything more than that.
Beltran hit .323 when he was traded from the Mets to San Francisco and really played well. And there were some folks that were pretty surprised around Major League Baseball that Carlos Beltran did not stay with the Giants due to the fact that even though he's an older player, there's a couple of reasons why you bring him back. He's still productive, and it's a short-term deal. Think about what they're doing with San Francisco. They're trying to wrap up long-term contracts with their young pitching. Kane, Lincecum, Bumgarner just received an extension, so you have to sacrifice with your everyday lineup and maybe, you know, go with some chancy signings, which could have been Beltran and his health, but Bruce Bochy doesn't see that, and Beltran is a little surprised he's not here too.
Well, Carlos was asked before the game if he felt like the Giants wanted him back, and he said no, there was never ever a call made by the Giants to his agent.
Hanging breaking ball and a base hit out to left. Rafael Furcal, his second hit. He's 2 for 2. Beltran really turned things around for himself, getting healthy and putting up good numbers here in San Francisco. Parlayed that into a nice contract with the Cardinals, and at 35 games so far. You see the average, but the production, Al, the home runs, that's what really stands out when you think of Beltran.
Like you said, he's on a pace to have a career high in home runs, and his high is 41, so great news. Very, very likable young man.
Strike to Tyler Green, who doubled first time.
He said, Carlos, before the game, that once he realized there was no to stay in the National League, he looked around. The Cardinals were always a team he thought about playing for, and it seemed like the best fit for him. so he went ahead in that direction, but he was surprised that the Giants never called his agent.
Dan Lozano is the agent for both Albert Pujols and Carlos Beltran. So if you're John Mozeliak, you got to have a pretty short memory and say, all right, that's one player. We didn't get him. Albert Pujols, now we're moving on to the next guy. And really, for both parties, a perfect situation. For Beltran, looking for a team that has a chance to win. And he gets a nice deal. Cardinals need production.
When the Beltran signing took place, one thing I got excited about, because it was the length of the contract. You were hopeful he'd be productive. He always is when he's healthy, but staying healthy has been an issue in the past. But the mere fact that it was reasonable at 2 years, that you thought that could be a very, very good signing for the Cardinals, and it looks like it's going to be for both parties.
1-2 the count on Tyler Green. Speaking of John Mozeliak, he is at the Visionary Awards dinner tonight. It's called Dining in the Dark, and he's the event chair. They're honoring Jerry Kent and also Dave Peacock, longtime executive at Anheuser-Busch. Out at second, they'll get the lead man. Those two have done wonderful things for those that suffer from blindness in St. Louis and throughout the Midwest. So if you know David, give him a ring and say, job well done.
Burris here is the third baseman, is really a second baseman here, and he takes a little bit of a chance. One hit particularly hard, and it's a bang play there at second base, and they do get the lead runner.
Now Matt Holliday, who lined out to second first time up.
In regards to Yachty, just a night off, Dan.
No chance for Posey right there, as the fourth steal of the season for Tyler Green is off Bumgarner, the pitcher.
Now, what did you think about that? Is get a look at easy the steal, Tyler Green, but you've got Wainwright going tomorrow. Day game yesterday, day game tomorrow. Seemed to be the right time to give Cruz a game and let Yachty make sure he's paired up with Wainwright.
Yes, and sometimes, it's good to kind of mix the catchers up a little bit with, with Garcia, just sort of see if somebody else clicks with him. But with all the day games, you already mentioned that, Mike Matheny is very cognizant of keeping those guys on the bench sharp. It's I think the sixth start for Cruz this year, and Yachty has caught more games than everybody but one, Montero with Arizona.
1-2 the count on Matt Holliday. Exciting moment at the ballpark yesterday, thanks to Molina and his walk-off base hit to beat the Cubs.
How about the hit by Holliday, who came around to score that winning run? Boy, that was a rocket up the middle, and I'm sure Dolis is glad it didn't hit him.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Matt Holliday.
Since May 1st, Holliday's hitting .365, kind of quietly. Yesterday was very loud with the 3 hits and the home run, but he feels like his swing is finally falling into place, and he says even when he's making an out now, he hits the ball hard and he can take that.
Isn't that funny? But it's all between the ears, how you interpret things. Because a lot of guys just get frustrated when they hit the ball hard and don't get rewarded for it. Others know they're that much closer.
Well, the strike zone has been consistent here on the outside corner. Bumgarner continues to pound that portion of the plate. Hear the fans moaning and groaning, but it was a ball, and it's 3-2. Outfield is deep, straight away for Matt Holliday.
See the way Holliday is taking pitches. He's seeing the ball much better.
And he pops it up down the right field line. Long way to go. Fair territory, and the catch is made by Nate Schierholtz. Now McCovey Cove just beyond the right field wall. Hit the road with us. Take us with you. Subscribe to MLB.tv. You'll see every Cardinals out-of-market game live online and on your favorite device in HD. Chilly night here in San Francisco. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you. Jim Hayes as well here in the booth. Madison Bumgarner, Emmanuel Burris, and Gregor Blanco. Who wants it? Right fielder will take it. And that's Alan Craig for the first out. One of those rare situations you come to what is considered a new ballpark. It opened up early 2000s, but you do have in this ballpark where the bullpens are in play.
Someone forgot with the design.
With Alan Craig and Carlos Beltran dealing with knee injuries.
Dan, you remember how the bullpens came about. They forgot to put them in here.
That's right.
Right before they opened up the ballpark, somebody said, well, where's the bullpens? I go, what do you mean? An oversight.
Burris lines it into center field. Ninth place hitter, Emmanuel Burris, with a base hit. Well, as Tony would say in hitting the pitcher eighth, that the ninth place hitter can be a secondary leadoff man. And Burris, one thing that he possesses is fantastic speed. He's one of the fastest players in their organization. We'll see if he wants to test Tony Cruz.
That was his first hit as a right-handed batter. He was 0 for 11.
Gregor Blanco, the left fielder, is grounded out to second. Back to the top of the lineup for Bruce Bochy.
See, he needs to work on keeping those runners close, giving his catchers an opportunity to throw them out.
See him leaning towards second. He may lean towards second, Al, but many times it's just to get inside the head of the pitcher, knowing that he is coming back with any kind of move.
Correct. It's almost like, you know, like we talk about reading video and seeing if pitchers are tipping pitches. A lot of times base runners will do that too.
Not running. It's a ground ball and taken fair. Berkman will step on the bag.
Thought about going to second, trying to get the lead runner, but he's going to be in an awkward position. You have to get one, so his easy choice was step on the bag. And Burris, with that good speed, really had a likelihood he might throw it into the runner, deflect off, and end up with runners at first and third.
Jim, we were talking about it. It's the return of Mike Matheny to San Francisco tonight.
He says one of the great things about coming back is seeing a lot of the young players that he played with back in the day when he was a member of the Giants really coming into their own. In fact, he told me that Matt Cain, tomorrow's Giants starter, his very first big league game was August 29, 2005. Mike Matheny was behind the plate. And look how good Cain has become.
He's also become a very rich man as well. Signed a lucrative deal, to say the least. He's now the highest paid right-hander in all of baseball in terms of total money in his deal. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That was up but pulled foul off the bat of Charlie Culberson, the second baseman.
And now that when you look at what's happened in their rotation, you know, it's Lincecum is kind of the odd man out. Last season, 4 starters got Cy Young votes for the Giants. 4 of their 5 starters. The odd guy last year that didn't get any votes is Barry Zito, and In the early goings of here in 2012, he's turned things around, pitching much better.
6th year in San Francisco. Great story is Ryan Vogelsong, who was in Japan for 3 years, in the minor leagues for 1, in his return to Major League Baseball. A check swing, and he went. Blocked by Cruz. It's a strikeout. And for Garcia, that's his 3rd. Craig, Berkman, Freese, middle of the lineup coming up for St. Louis. Schnook's difference maker, Rafael Furcal. Cardinal leadoff man is 2 for 2, pair of singles, and he has scored the lone run of the night. That's a look at your Schnook's difference maker.
Schnucks bakers make fresh donuts every morning, every day. They get up early and make the donuts and Danish, and they'll sell them that day. Their competition, well, they make their donuts at a plant, package them up, ship them to their stores. You really don't know how long that might take. So I'm thinking that freshly delivered donuts just won't taste as good as freshly made donuts. Count on the bakery at Schnucks for fresh donuts made at the store every day. That's the Schnucks difference.
One of the keys in the game yesterday against Chicago, Al, was the fact that Kyle Loesch struggled in the first inning, but after that first and a couple of check swings that wound up being base hits, he didn't give in. He didn't fold. And such a key for this team, especially in that game yesterday. Bullpen that's been taxed to an extent, and they've got a stretch of 29 and 30 days. They needed him to go deeper in the game, and he did.
And one of the impressive things was, even though he gave up 3 runs and 5 hits in the first inning, his pitch count really was not that high for that inning. And another key is he didn't walk anybody in that game. So, and remember, without a blown save, he would have been in line for that victory. So at one point he retired 10 in a row. So Kyle Loesch got off to a bad start, but he really did settle down and pitch effectively and gave his team definitely a chance to win.
Here's a 1-1 to Alan Craig. Ground ball hit to short. A couple of hops taken there by Crawford. 1 down.
How many times we talk about rolling over on a pitch? Pitcher throw a ball away from you, you're trying to pull it, and you just roll right over it. More times than not, right-handed batter will just hit it to the shortstop.
That look brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Top of the 4th here in San Francisco, 1-0 St. Louis. Berkman struck out with a runner on his first time up. Talked about Bumgarner. He received a 6-year deal that keeps him with the Giants through 2017. So they lock up the arbitration years and also his first year of free agency. Also contains 2 options. And this combination, this battery of Posey and Bumgarner, the World Series of 2010, one of the youngest to ever play in the Fall Classic, pitcher and catcher combined. Have to go back to 1947. Yogi Berra was part of a battery that was awfully young. That was with Shea, or Spec Shea, Game 4, 1947, with Yogi Berra.
And Dan, it's so amazing that Bumgarner could forget everything that Steve Klein taught him in the minor leagues, so he could be effective at this level.
Steve is still coaching with the Giants.
Oh yeah. But I remember him talking at next winter or the fall of 2010 and just bragging about he was Bumgarner's pitching coach.
Bumgarner, the 10th overall pick in 2007, is Freese drives one into deep left center field. That ball will get down, and he's thinking 2. Fired into second base, diving head first, and they got him. Base hit for Freese, snaps his 0-for-14 skid, but gunned down trying to extend it to a double. The Blues and Fox Sports Midwest teaming up for the Coleman St. Louis Race for the Cure. That'll be Saturday, June 23rd All team members are invited to enjoy special pre-race activities. That includes a meet and greet with Louis, face painting, music, and more. Find out more at foxmidwest.com and stlouisblues.com. One thing we've noticed tonight, Al, is that Garcia's velocity, and really in his last couple of starts, hasn't been throwing as hard as we've seen in the past, but he looks to be pretty good tonight.
It's such a deceptive thing. Yeah, great to have enormous velocity, but if you don't know how to harness it, don't know how to control it, put it where you want it, you're better off to back off a little bit and have better command.
1 ball, 1 strike. Angel Pagan was a 4th-round pick by the Mets in 1999, signed by Gary LaRocque, and Gary is now a special assistant to John Mozeliak in St. Louis. Pitch was up. It's hit out to deep left. Will it carry out of here? No, it's caught on the track by Holiday.
Big ballpark here, and especially at nighttime, the ball will not carry, especially in this little damp air.
AT&T Park in San Francisco. Just 2-game series starting tonight. Dan, Al, Jim with you. Pagano for 2. Here's Buster Posey. Buster only 45 games last year. He hit .284. First full season, he was the Rookie of the Year. 18 home runs, hit .305, drove in nearly 70.
He was a hitting machine, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. His dad was named Buster as a kid and passed it on to this Buster. Real name is Gerald Dempsey Posey III. Fouled back. Giants have asked themselves, are they better off getting Posey to play a different position? He can do it, as we talked about. He was a shortstop, Florida State, played first base. He was also a pitcher, pitched in the College World Series where he threw in the mid-90s. But because of what he brings you offensively, you don't want to run the risk of injury with him behind the plate. That is past the diving Lance Berkman. Posey running fairly well after the surgeries. Winds up at second base, and he's 2 for 2.
Dan, when we talk about he was a hitting machine, that is some of the stuff that I saw from him. Breaking ball here, he kind of keeps his hands inside the ball, just kind of pushes it to the right side, and he would get hits all over the field. A lot of times it was all over the place, and he just found holes. He finds another one there.
Now Brett Pill made his major league debut last year after 5 minor league seasons. Hit 315 games last season in a call-up. But he has shown that he's got tremendous power. 25 home runs. Drove in over 100 at AAA last year.
It felt like he was a professional hitter at the minor league level, but as you say, they wanted to somehow, some way get Brandon Belts got in that lineup.
We'll see Belt, I'm sure, tomorrow. Pill played at Cal State Fullerton, College World Series team of '04, and a number of years in the minor leagues. Strikeout, and that's number 4 for Garcia. Email the booth question, carsoup.com/Cardinals. Send us your email the booth questions. I'm sure we'll get some questions for you, Al, concerning your time here in San Francisco. You were born and raised in great state of California.
It's part of the cover story, Dan.
What type of novel is it? Can only imagine. And even that doesn't do it justice.
That doesn't do it justice. No.
Here's Shearholtz. Big gap in right center field. Good movement on that pitch. Late movement by Garcia. It's a ballpark. You've got to have a center fielder that can go and get it. Right center, it's 421 into the gap. 399 to dead center. Left center, 382.
Sometimes they think that you have to have a superior fielder in right because of all the different angles and the depth out there in right center.
See behind Craig where fans for free can peek through the fencing, take in a game. You've got the out-of-town scoreboard above that.
Goes from 309 into the corner, 365, and then to the deepest part of the field is out in right center where it is 421.
Check swing, and it gets away from Cruz. Ball hits the dirt, throw it out. Yachty gets a new one, or rather Cruz gets a new one for Garcia. Wild pitch charge to Jaime Garcia.
Remember the last time that Jaime was on the mound, there were a couple pass balls that were charged to Molina. Very rare pass balls, and Mike Matheny was talking about the unbelievable movement on some of Jaime's pitches. And remember, that was right after Molina had the injury to the hand where he was crossed up by a fastball.
Blocked in the dirt again by Cruz. A strikeout, 5 tonight for Garcia, and a cool evening here in San Francisco. Show off your Cardinal spirit in style. It's a trendy baseball cap courtesy of U.S. Cellular, the official wireless provider of the Cardinals. 25,000 fans ages 16 and older receive the adult cap Saturday, May 26th. The weekend is loaded with giveaways, with the Phillies coming to town after San Diego on our next homestand Thursday night. MLB bag giveaway. Beer stein on Friday, the hat on Saturday. And they've got the front Post-Dispatch poster, all the different championship front pages. So giveaways those 4 nights and afternoons against the Phillies. Shane Robinson, a ground ball to third. They were playing in. And there's one away. America's pastime moves past prime time and right into it. Baseball night in America. The White Sox take on the Cubs. Diamondbacks and Royals. Interleague play is here. Baseball night in America, presented by Chevrolet, begins at 6, and it's only on Fox. Here's Tony Cruz, who grounded out to second first time up.
They're already into interleague play.
Already here.
Wow.
Your favorite. .1-0 pitch to Cruz.
He's got a little modest hitting streak going.
Last year, really a streaky season for Bumgarner. Giants lost 11 of his first 15 starts, but he never wavered, because after that they started winning those starts. The high throw, and Cruz is out for out number 2, because Giants then would win 13 of his next 19. Overall, he was 13-13, ERA just over 3, nearly 200 strikeouts and over 200 innings.
See how many innings Jaime gets this season. See a 13-game winner his first 2 years. Pitching out of the rotation.
Bumgarner is from Hickory, North Carolina. And there's so many Bumgarners from there, they call it Bumville. And I am serious. Apparently, currently, there's 100 Bumgarners from his area. So the nickname
and
is...
they're not all related.
No. At least not that we know of. Bumville.
It's kind of the mountain area of North Carolina and the furniture capital.
How would you know that? You are just a wealth of knowledge.
Dan, I learned how to ski at Sugar Mountain.
Really?
It's a pimple in North Carolina, which was just pure ice.
1-2 pitch to Garcia. Pulled foul. And time is called. Madison is a romantic guy because he gave his wife a 5-year-old bull calf as a wedding present.
Quite romantic.
I mean, that's when you know you're in love.
Now, what is it if you give her a heifer?
I have no idea. Jaime strikes out. Cardinals go in order. Crawford, Bumgarner, and Burris coming up. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Find a helpful servicing Steel dealer near you. Visit steeldealers.com. And by O'Charley's, 2 for $20. 1 appetizer, 2 entrees, just $20 only at O'Charley's. Statues here at the ballpark, and you walk around, you get a feel of the Giants' history. The remarkable players that have played here, from Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, his statue out there that you just saw, Orlando Cepeda, Juan Marichal.
Bonds, a lot. Just run down the line.
Marichal, you see the statue and the high leg kick, and you just wonder how in the heck did he throw a baseball like that? For me, Al, I see the video. You actually saw it.
Played with him in winter ball, but the odd thing for Marichal, with some of the most unbelievable seasons, and yet never could win a Cy Young, because every time he had a great year, somebody had a better one.
There's a big hanging breaking ball, and Crawford grounds to Tyler Green for the first out.
And of course, you're talking about guys like Gibson and Koufax. There's a little hanger. But out away from him, tried to pull it and hit it hard, but right at Tyler Green.
Madison Bumgarner does everything in his life right-handed. Signs, golf, bow and arrow, everything you can possibly imagine doing with your right arm being your strong arm, except throwing the baseball. Walk-off home run in state championship to win state title when he was in high school. It's amazing. You talk to some of these players and guys that don't get a chance to hit now, or pitchers, few and far between, and you see or talk to them about being a hitter and just how good they were coming up through the ranks of high school baseball or Legion ball, college even. But up here, Al, different story. The best of the best are here.
And growing up, they were more than likely the best on their ball club, swinging the bat. But all of a sudden, the emphasis starts going on pitching, PFP, pitcher's fielding practice, and rarely do you get out there on the mound, or excuse me, in the batter's box. You really work on that aspect of it. It can help you, though.
6 strikeouts for Garcia.
I mean, he had 9 strikeouts against the Giants. That was his career high, I believe, and I think that was last season when he left the ball game here thinking he had a victory. It was one of those real tough defeats.
Not bad at all. Look at that. 55 pitches, 13. That's it. 13 balls on the night. So very aggressive inside the strike zone. 9th place hitter Emmanuel Burris. He singled up the middle first time up. He taught himself to, because of his great speed, to switch hit in college. He played at Kent State. 33rd overall pick in 2006, and a product of the Washington, D.C. Public School District. I bring that up because he's the first to reach the majors from that school district since Willie Royster back in 1981.
I mentioned Burris is more of a second baseman playing third. Is another injury to the Giants last night. Arias doing a pretty nice job over third. He's injured.
0-2 pitch and a strikeout of Burris. We got the top of the lineup coming up when we come back. Visit MLB.com/fan guide for a chance to win a VIP experience for 2 this year at a MLB World Series game. Presented by Scott's, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. 1-0 game in favor of St. Louis. The difference, Rafael Furcal scoring on a fielder's choice off the bat of Alan Craig back in the first inning. Get well wishes to a big Cardinal fan, Dave Woods, watching back home in South County. Never misses a game. Cardinals want to make sure and wish him get well wishes. Dave Woods back home in St. Louis. Furcal grounds out, and it brings in Tyler Green. Pitcher's duel partner here tonight.
And you take away the first 2 hits off of Bumgarner, and we have a scoreless game. Furcal, who had been 0 for 9, he got the first hit, and Tyler Green hit a double, put in second and third, and then, as you said, came home on the fielder's choice.
Can they stay in contention? Starting pitching of Tim Lincecum, Matt Cain, Ryan Vogelsong, this lefty, and Barry Zito. Green pops it up to the right side. Quickly 2 down.
Just kind of look at it right now. It's Lincecum is the one that's struggling the most.
Friday, May 25th, Budweiser bringing fans ages 21 and older the second Stein in the championship series, highlighting last year's World Championship. Also that night, just added, Vince Coleman will be signing autographs in the Ford Plaza. Bush Bash out in the Ford Plaza that night. It's Friday, May 25th, and still good seats are available for that Phillies series. 2 down, and Matt Holliday hits it out to deep right. 4 pitches in the inning, caught at the track. Holliday is 0 for 3. Great matchup on paper, at least, for tomorrow. We'll come your way at 2 on Fox Sports Midwest. Presented by Budweiser, Adam Wainwright and Matt Cain. Cain 2-2. And Wainwright trying to bounce back after a rough outing on Friday against the Chicago Cubs. Lincecum is a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. He has not been receiving much run support last year nor this year, and that certainly is the case with Matt Cain. That has been the story of his career. Bunt is down by Blanco. Freeze. Did they get him? No.
I think he was on the bag as Berkman tried to reach in, catch that ball, and I think he lost contact with the bag.
So base hit for Gregor Blanco. That was just pitch number 59 from Jaime Garcia tonight. Bumgarner is at 74.
Bunt right here, drops down the bunt down third baseline, takes advantage of that great speed, and was by Berkman when he caught the ball.
Here's Culberson, who was struck out twice with a bunt here. Looked like he was about ready to show it.
Get a look here to see what happens and how close it is, but he was on the bag, but he was already past it. Blanco with the infield single. Has 4 steals on the year.
You would have to bunt in this situation, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he stepped off and threw the first just to try and read the hitter.
Bunt is down. Cruz will take it. First out. Dangerous throw there. Tailed back into the running lane for Culberson, and you really leave the man covering the bag exposed. That's what happened there with Tyler Green. Culberson can run too. Sack 2-4 on the play.
Little things, the fundamentals. You must get this bunt down. Does a good job. Just kept on rolling out there and made sure that the only play was at first base, putting Blanco into scoring position. Memory serves me right. Pagan's hit the Cardinals pretty well in the past.
Yes, he has. Especially last year.
Mets.
Pagan has spent time with the Mets, the Cubs, and now here in San Francisco. Came over from New York for Ramon Ramirez and Andres Torres. So essentially trading outfielders. Torres has been injured off and on first year with New York. Pagan hit one deep. It was caught last time by Matt Holliday and left. 1-0 pitch. Really has taken off some of that velocity on the breaking ball, Al. It's been effective.
There's a curveball, which will be right around that 74. His cutter will be in the low to mid 80s. Gets the ball down. It just has great movement on it. So you can deal with less velocity as long as you have movement.
1 ball, 1 strike. Garcia tonight has struck out 7. He's allowed just 4 base hits. Cardinals have just 4 hits, but the difference, fielder's choice off the bat of Alan Craig, and the first to score, Rafael Furcal.
For the game, Dion Miller told me that Jaime had 2 very good side sessions since his last start, and he's carrying it right into the game.
High chopper, tough play here with the speed of Pagan. Base hit.
Not much you can do with that.
But here, Al, is where we were talking about Garcia. When you run into a problem, infield hit, you make a good pitch, yet that's baseball. Turns into a base hit. To see the emotions kept in check. No play here for Kyle, but let's see if Garcia now can bear down and get Buster Posey.
And Posey so far in the day has had the best of Jaime. 2 for 2, a single and a double. But you do have a double play in order, and that's been a big part of Jaime's game this year. Jaime, he leads the National League in double plays induced, and his 10th right here would be perfect.
Posey, a liner into center, and we're tied up. Three base hits, 1-1 here in this inning. Buster Posey 3 for 3, and that's RBI number 14.
Derek Littlequist come out to talk to Jaime, slow him down a little bit. It was a first pitch. Sometimes a pitcher will get himself in trouble getting too far ahead of himself, meaning you have runners on the bases, then you're sitting there going, okay, I'm going to throw this off-speed pitch, and I'll get ahead in the count. Then I'll throw this pitch and this pitch, then I'll get them out, and you don't get a chance to, you don't have that whole concentration on there. So they get one, and Pagan only thought about going to third, but had to hold up at second.
Bill is 0 for 2. Grounded out to third and struck out. First time up, it took a bare-hand play by David Freese to get him. On the bench, they have Brandon Belt, Aubrey Huff from the left side, Arias from the right side. Cabrera switch hitter along with Hector Sanchez. Sanchez is their backup catcher. Ground ball hit to short for Kyle. To second, out there. The turn nicely done by Tyler Green. 6-4-3 off the bat of Hill. It's a new game, 1-1 as we head to the 7th. MLB Network wants to get you geared up for the season, and that's the MLB Network bag, and we'll tell you about that night coming up. But first and foremost, what about the AT&T trivia question? 2 players to win Gold Gloves for the Giants. The last 2, Mike Matheny, and you would think the future Hall of Famer Omar Vizquel. Speaking of shortstops and guys that could pick it, double play brought to you by Mazda. Nice turn here by Green.
It really is. He showed that strong throwing arm as he made up for a little lost time. That was not really hit particularly hard. It was not a ground ball that you would assume would turn into a double play. Mike had that Gold Glove, and you remember Vizquel. They had 6 shortstops that played like 30 games. They really haven't had a solid shortstop since Vizquel.
Are you in agreement with me as you get a look at Craig that Vizquel is a future Hall of Famer?
I would probably want to look at the numbers a little closer, but you know, I think you put him in, you know, Ozzie reference would come to mind, and so I think that's a logical and probably a pretty good choice. Very, very talented young man from Venezuela.
He's now with the Blue Jays.
He was still playing.
This is hit down the left field line to pulled foul. Omar Vizquel is now in his 24th Major League season.
Over 40.
Soon to be 45, I believe. They've talked about with a guy like Zito, the way that he throws, Al, they compare him a little bit to Jamie Moyer, another guy that a little long in the tooth, so to speak, in baseball terms. Still playing the game and still getting people out, but said, hey, take a look at how he changes speeds. There's no reason to think that you can't be that type of pitcher too as the years go on by.
And Zito has said that kind of teased people for about 6 weeks last year, but doing it more consistently this year. I go back to the dominance that Zito had and the winning percentage he had with Oakland. And he signs a $126 million deal with the Giants and says, I'm going to change my motion. Can I void the contract?
Here's a 2-2. Craig reaching for it. It's a ground ball hit to short. 1 away. Craig grounds out to start the 7th, and this rotation with Kane, Zito, Vogelsong, Bumgarner, and Lincecum. And the surprising aspect of this graphic is taking a look at the ERAs, and look at the very end, ERA of 5.77 for Tim Lincecum. You just do not expect to see that.
Well, Dave Righetti, recognized an outstanding pitching coach after a tremendous pitching career at the helm over here.
Lance Berkman, he's about due for that first home run.
12-game hitting streak. And of course, there's a lot of interruption there with the injuries. Sat out one time 4 games with the calf muscle, and then just came back from about 21 days off.
Out in front and pops it up behind home plate. Big crowd here tonight. 41,324. 41324. Their 102nd consecutive sold-out crowd dating back to the 2010 season.
Really a neat ballpark.
Sure is.
Kind of crammed it in here into about 13 acres. The concourses are a little tighter than some of the new ballparks, but just a magnificent setting right here on the water.
Tomorrow, I'm sure we'll be able to show it a little bit better. Our director, Tom Mee, our producer, Mike Helling. I say that because of the Sunshine Day baseball tomorrow, and look out over the bay. Alcatraz. We'll see some of the kayakers at Covey Cove. A 2-2 pitch. What do you think? Right now be just about the right time for a home run?
I would love it.
The 3-2. Foul back.
Tried to go inside, really didn't get it that far in. And all the boos is for a fan right below us that missed that pop-up.
I bet a ball dude wouldn't have missed that.
Oh, I saw him miss one last night.
I did too. He fell down. About 70 years old down the right field line.
Slider.
3-2 is hit sharply to third. Staying down on it, Burris. 2 outs. Well, we told you about that drawstring bag to bring home from the Cardinals game, presented by MLB Network, and that'll be a Thursday night, May 24th. The Cards and Phils, Cardinals.com/promotions. That's where we say if you're thinking about making a long weekend of it, think about that Phillies series and all the great promotions. Beer stein, the hat, the poster, and the bag. 4 games, 4 different giveaways, and there's a strike to David Freese.
David a base hit his last time up, and then was thrown out trying to stretch it into a double.
Giants with multiple errors last night. They have 41 this year. Tops in baseball. Big breaking ball, and it's hit down the left field line. Track wall gone. It's a home run for David Freese. 2-1 St. Louis.
8th home run. And 28th RBI. 2 for 3. That's how you break out of an 0 for 16.
This is our Nissan drive of the game, and it looked like Freese may have been a little bit out in front. Did he just get it with one arm too? Just to follow through.
Picked off an ambulance too. Looks like there's an ambulance right down in the corner, right where he hit that ball. On the fence. Nice going, David. Hit a few balls hard during that time when he was searching for a hit, and kept everything level-headed, didn't he?
Just gave the fan a high five too.
Well, wearing a championship hat. He's got the Cardinal logo on his sweatshirt. Leaning into the dugout. Maybe he's part of the team.
One pitch to Shane Robinson. Well, we told you that David is as accommodating of a superstar as you're going to find. Well, even in the game he does that. 1-2 pitch. Pulled foul. I like the ball dudes, Al, and that's their name, ball dude, but I'm a little leery of the reaction time on some of the hot shots. I worry for them and the fans. They're not the quickest of fielders.
No, but I like it too.
Now you may notice they are tucked behind a little bit of the fencing too.
There's one. Of course, that area right, he's leaning over the rail. Originally, that was the bullpen area, but like everything else, they found, oh, that could be premium seats. So now the bullpenners are in the Cardinal dugout.
Fly ball into right. Catch made. Robinson hitless tonight. It's time to stretch here in San Francisco. David Freese, 8th home run. Always nice to see that trot. 2-1. Redbirds on top on Fox Sports Midwest. Time now for our AT&T U-verse reverse recap. Rafael Furcal 2 for 3 with a run scored. David Freese snapping that 0-4 streak with a couple of hits tonight, including a home run moments ago. And there's a strike to start the bottom of the 7th. David Freese with 8 home runs. He's driven in 28. Won't be that far away. We're talking about interleague play already, that you think about the All-Star game and where David Freese may wind up. I think he could wind up in Kansas City.
No doubt about it. And of course, his popularity, his jersey is now number 20, 20th in all of Major League Baseball sales. Amazing what an MVP will do for you.
Cardinals may have caught a break there. Strike, and it's 2-2 on Schierholtz. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Garcia has allowed 6 base hits, and he struck out 7.
And that last pitch may set up a breaking ball away. Back inside. 10 pitch. Schierholtz, as we said, he's a pretty good outfielder. They like his defensive ability, but fade ball. No, fastball shook it off.
Tied him up. He chased ball 4. Strikeout number 8. Fans can chat live throughout the season in the Jack in the Box Ask the Expert chats on FoxSportsMidwest.com, and our next chat is tomorrow. That'll be hosted by Cal Eldred. Ask the Experts at FoxSportsMidwest.com. So 8 strikeouts, and here is Crawford, right-hander, getting loose in the pen with Bumgarner on deck.
8 strikeouts, one away from his career high that he set last season.
Curveball looks sharp tonight, doesn't it?
Yeah, here at AT&T Park. He's really staying on top of it much better. And all of his pitches a little more crisp, keeping the ball down, and the walks, no walks, is a big thing to me.
Somehow Garcia is going to make this play.
Rattling around from the seat of his pants to his ankles, to stayed right with it, got it out. Very hot looking. Throw the ball, try to get in fielding position. Bounce around on your backside, and now they'll go out and check just to make sure he's okay.
So they check on Garcia. Let's just take a look at our carsoup.com email the booth question. Al, who was the greatest Giants pitcher in your opinion? This is George in South City.
Marichal in my mind as the Dominican dandy, As we mentioned, that high leg kick, just an assortment of pitches, but also had the pleasure of playing with Juan in his native Dominican Republic. And then you had a matchup of Hall of Famers like Marichal and Gibson. It didn't last too long. That game was going to be over pretty quick. See, 251 wins. That's the Cardinal record. Marichal, 243, 142. Look at the ERAs, very similar. Bob more of a strikeout pitcher, and they both reside in the Hall of Fame. Marichal really a first-class individual. Very successful outside of the game. Had a big insurance company down in the Dominican Republic. Classic. And a lot of people might remember the one incident where fight between the Dodgers and the Giants, and he took a bat, hit Roseboro. He was hit Roseboro, the Dodger catcher, in the head, but that was just so anti what his personality was.
Garcia is due up second. You wonder if this would be his final inning of work.
It's going to be only the 80th pitch.
Runs the count full on Bumgarner. Pitches by inning, and he's been extremely effective tonight. Fly ball
Into the fog.
Yeah, he wants it, and the catch is not made. Craig can't come up with it, and let's just hope that does not come back to haunt Garcia and the Cardinals. A play that's got to be made, but as you mentioned, it's going through the fog.
I was going to say, it's easy to say that that play has to be made, but it really does. And I think when you look back on it, it was kind of no man's land. I don't think it was Robinson's ball. You got to remember, it's not Beltran out there. It's Alan Craig, and it's a tough play for the infielder going over the shoulder, but the ball was not that deep, and maybe Tyler would have had the best shot at it.
Not sure if television does it justice, but very, very foggy here at the ballpark.
Yeah, right before when that ball went up, it was probably one of the more foggy moments as fog is coming in off the bay. You say 2 outs, got the 9th place hitter. And remember, the pitcher is batting 8th in this lineup.
Little chopper. Garcia won't get to it. Doesn't matter. Taken by Furcal. Steps on the bag. No harm done. 2-1 as we head to the 8th here in San Francisco. Welcome back to Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Let's go to our studio with this Bommarito Sports Update and Pat Paris.
Dan, thank you very much. 49-year-old Jamie Moyer making history again today, but not just on the mound for the Rockies. Moyer using his pure athleticism to leg out an infield single, driving in a pair of runs. Moyer, the oldest player ever to record an RBI, plus he gets the win, 6-1 over the D-backs. Dan, Al, back to you in San Fran.
It's amazing.
How about that, Dan? An infield single, and drives in 2.
Corbin is the second 22-year-old that Moyer has faced this season. Difference of 26 years, 243 days, Al.
As I'm just getting older thinking about it.
Our thanks to Pat Paris for getting us caught up. Tony Cruz, the start. Place of Yadier Molina tonight.
And I may have been right on sync, haven't they? Worked very well together. It's only the 6th start for Cruz this year. He's 4 for 27. And he does have Bates hits in his last 2 games. So Adam has a game just like Jaime's had.
No activity in the Redbirds bullpen. And no need right now.
And the pitch count is so low, and I get the impression, and I talked a little bit with Derek Lilliquist and also Dyer Miller about, pitch counts and how they're aware of them, but not going to totally be.
Cruz retired. Slowed up just enough by the lefty on the mound.
He's got the two-seam grip here, and watch how he'll spin it in the glove as he's going to find his changeup, the circle changeup grip. And by slowing that ball up, allowed his second baseman Culberson to make that play.
Pitch number 100 to Garcia is a base hit into right. If you'd like to come here next time we're in San Francisco or LA over the weekend, back home in St. Louis, find the seats you want, the freedom to choose the seats that you want for every game. Official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals is StubHub.
Understand that fan we showed earlier gave the high five to David Freese. He travels frequently on the road and either got that sweatshirt or the hat last week in St. Louis, and then he goes a lot of the road games. So maybe he goes and uses StubHub. He's got good seats.
Taken low by Furcal.
There's a gentleman.
Furcal is 2 for 3. Difference in this game, if you're just joining us, David Freese with a solo home run tonight. He snapped his 0 for 16 streak. And even with that 0 for 16, he was in the 270s, and he was talking before the game about that if he was putting this streak together in August, would not be magnified like it has been the last couple of days because of the dip in his average early season. Numbers aren't quite there. For those that missed it, David Freese, the Bat Boy, low 5. Fan, high 5. Yeah. Yeah. Here's a 2-1 pitch as they play in front of the runner, Garcia. That's driven out to deep right field. Garcia can start running. He does. Now he touches second. He is on his way to third. They'll hold him up for Kyle, a 3-hit night.
Furcal was leading the major leagues with 8 3-hit nights before that one. So make it 9 for Ralphie.
You know, an everyday position player, Al, may read this a little bit differently and not hesitate as much. Right there, he should know that's going to get down.
He looked for his third base coach, and then instead of reading what Kindo's trying to tell him, he started looking again. Tippy-toeing around the bases, and he can only fault himself for not having an extra insurance run.
Bumgarner is out. We'll tell you about the change when we come back. Pretty interesting to see this at 21-15, the 2011 team and 2012.
Almost identical except for the home runs, where Cardinals by far 48 this year, 34 last year, and there's 48 home runs, lead the National League. And it's our Mid-America Chevy dealers called to the bullpen.
So Schumacher will be a pinch hitter. Pinch hits for Tyler Green. Right-handed pitcher Steve Edelson, 16th round pick in 2007, takes over for Bumgarner.
He stranded all 5 runners he's inherited this year. He's had 5 appearances, 4 of them scoreless.
Infield is in, and the runners at second and third. Holiday on deck. Green in this spot went 1 for 3. Schumacher takes over. Second spot in the lineup.
Skip Schumacher, the old veteran now, batting .545, 6 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Nice to come through here.
It's right-handers from Bloomington, Minnesota. Pitched at the University of Nebraska. There's a fly ball out to left. It's well hit. That ball will get down. 2 runs will score. Schumacher on his way to second base. Gives the Cardinals a little cushion here late. It's 4-1. Schumacher off the bench and delivers with a double to score 2.
Blanco was playing very shallow in left field, and that ball had plenty of distance. You knew it was going to be at least a sacrifice fly, but as shallow as he was playing, it got over his head. Gives the Cardinals another run, and he ends up in scoring position. See how shallow he is, how that ball one hopped, and it was on the warning track.
Strike for Holiday. See the fog, a part of your picture at home or wherever you may be. The haze, the fog. See here at the ballpark. Outfield is straight away and deep for Matt Holliday. Holliday is hit into some tough luck tonight. Hit a rocket to second base. That was caught for an out. And twice he has flied out to right. One time it was hit to the wall. One pitch is a ground ball to short. Taken there by Crawford. Bumgarner 104 pitches. He's on the hook right now. It's 4-1 St. Louis. Advancing on the play. Schumacher to third. And it brings in Alan Craig.
Bumgarner's line, 7 to third inning, 7 hits, 4 runs all earned, no walks, 3 strikeouts, and 1 home run. Bumgarner had won 8 straight decisions at home going back to last season, and that's in jeopardy.
Runner at third, 2 down. Pitch that's taken high by Alan Craig. So he allows that home run to freeze, which could be the game-winning RBI tonight. Strikes out 3, no walks. 2 pitches into the 8th. Last year, the starting staff and the bullpen second best in the league. Saw that Garcia Al was hit on that comebacker. Did get the final out. Scored on the double by Schumacher, but now you've got a 4-1 lead. Would you think about, on a cool night, turning it over to your bullpen, or do you stay with the lefty?
Stay with him, but you will probably watch him very closely. This is a long inning, and it's my experience that when you hit, and then in the case with Jaime, he got a base hit around the bases, it kind of gets you back in and get your juices flowing, so it's easier to recover and go back out.
Ground ball to second. Schumacher off the bench. Pinch hitting for Tyler Green has given the Cardinals a little cushion. It's 4-1. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Taco Bell. Taco Bell, live Moss.
Couple changes as Mike Matheny will go for a little tighter defense. Descalzo comes in the game. He'll be batting in the 4th spot. He's playing second base, and Skip Schumacher stays in the game and playing right field. I was saying until we were rudely interrupted by that final ground out. That after a long inning like that, if you're a pitcher just sitting on the bench, that sometimes, late in the game, it does take a toll. But if you come to the plate, and in this case, run the bases a little bit on a very cool night, and you do stay very energized in the California night air, that it really kind of kicks your adrenaline back in there, and it's usually not such a factor. But they'll probably watch him very closely. Gets the guy on, you get the bullpen up.
Top of the lineup, Gregor Blanco, the left fielder. 1 for 3 tonight. See Garcia not throwing overly hard, but very effective getting inside on the lefties, Al.
Get inside, and as we say, you really don't want to swing the bat when you're being jammed. And then because of that effectiveness coming in on the left-handed batters, you set up a lot of pitches away. There's the curveball, and that has been a very sharp pitch for him tonight.
Got him. It's another strikeout, 9 for Jaime Garcia.
And that ties his career high that he set last season here in April in his no decision against the Giants. There's the curveball. He starts that one out a little bit above the belt, and with Jaime, if he starts it out there, then the bottom's going to fall out of it and be an effective pitch.
Here's Culberson. It was very much a forgetful series last year against the Giants.
It was a painful series against the Giants, as two looked like sure wins were taken away late. But that was just sort of the way the start of the season went for the Cardinals last year, and had the transition with the bullpen proved to be a strength at the end.
Slowly hit to the right side. Tough play here. Descalso shovels and safe. Daniel Descalso was telling us last night on the plane here what a thrill it is for him. He's disappointed. It's only really about 24 hours here in San Francisco. He grew up in the Bay Area and actually grew up a big fan of the Oakland A's and Tony La Russa's ball club. Mark McGuire.
Catch a break here as Descalso, knowing he has no chance, do or die play, but that ball nearly went into the dugout. It did not. Went off the facing of the dugout, and that's why Culberson is still at first base and not at second. Salas is throwing in the bullpen, and you wonder if this chance to give a little more time for Salas. And also just not a bad idea to remind Jaime, hey, you're pitching a great game. Just keep it right there. Don't worry about that. No big deal. Just a swinging bunt. And now we'll have Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach, will come out. So it's obvious, and it doesn't look like they want Pagan to face Jaime. And they definitely don't want Jaime to face Posey, who's 3 for 3.
Al, just thinking along here with Mike Matheny, they would love to see Fernando Salas obviously get back on track, and so you've got him here potentially for the 8th, and he's still throwing, getting loose. His last outing was against Atlanta, 2 2/3, and he struck out 4, did not allow a hit. Probably the best outing we've seen this year.
Yeah, I've noticed one thing with Mike Matheny, that he has allowed his relievers, and whether it's a Salas, to let him have a little more extended times to try and get themselves straightened out. I think it'll pay off for Salas. He's done that a little bit with Boggs recently. Go out there and throw to one batter here and there, you can't straighten yourself out.
So when you think about his mindset is, all right, I'm up 4-1. Boggs still isn't right. Maybe we get him in a different situation instead of a game on the line in the 8th. Sanchez just came up, so you want to ease him back in. You're saving Zipchinski for the lefty that you may have down the line, so Salas would be the guy. This is a base hit into left, so the tying run will come to the plate.
And he's not going to face Buster Posey, who's 3 for 3 and has driven in the only run for the Giants off of Jaime Garcia. So Zepchinski is running down there. He'll start warming up, but you can expect Mike Matheny to come in and make a pitching change right now.
Tying run at the plate in Buster Posey. When we come back. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cardinals, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin, Jim Hayes with you. Buster Posey has 4 home runs. He's 3 for 3, 4 on the year, 3 for 3 tonight. He represents the tying run. Al, what did you see from Salas last time out that gave him success?
Well, I think the one thing is he started not walking people, attacking the strike zone. That is always so important with him, is to have command, get ahead in the count.
He's ahead here, 0-2.
His changeup is such an effective pitch, an equalizer, but when you're pitching behind the count. And Buster Posey is a guy that's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. He leads all Giant batters with over 4 pitches seen per at bat.
Posey with a fly ball into right. Back is Schumacher, makes the catch on the track. A runner will tag up from second to third. He gave it a ride. Runners at the corners. And there's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. A foggy, cold night in San Francisco AT&T Park, home of the Giants. Game 1 of this 2-game series. Dan, Al, and Jim with you.
Melky Cabrera is going to pinch hit here. And Melky was in the original starting lineup playing left field. It's one of their acquisitions, and they found he is a pretty good darn ball player. He's a switch hitter, and they really, I think they even surprised themselves with how well he's blended with them and how well he's done. He's only 1 for 9 on the homestand. He's dealing with a little bit of a toe issue, and that's why he was taken out of the game. Does have 50 hits, 3rd most in the National League. He's a switch hitter, but Mike Matheny looks like he wants to turn him around and bring in Zepchinski.
Runners at the corners. Zepchinski coming in to face Cabrera. Zepchinski takes over. Cabrera, who has really come on the last year and a half or so in his career. He's only 27. We forget that. He's been around for a while. Look at that from the right side. He's batting .432. Cabrera hit .305 last year with the Kansas City Royals. He's 1 for 5 against Zepchinski in his career. 5 years with the Yankees. Spent a season in Atlanta. Admittedly, he said he was probably out of shape. Got in the gym, worked out. Much better shape. Big year last year with Kansas City. Had over 200 hits. Zepchinski this season, right-handers are 5 for 25 against him. And you may remember over the weekend, Dan Uggla hit one off the facade in left field. That was against Zepchinski.
Well, the one thing I think Mike Matheny is banking on is batter-pitcher matchup, and Zepchinski has won that battle. It's only 5 at bats, but it's 1 for 5 facing Cabrera.
Ground ball, 1 pitch, and that sends us to the 9th. Nice work, Mark Zepchinski. Getting used to saying that, though.
4-1 Cardinals as we head to the ninth in San Francisco. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris, Cal Eldred are back in studio. Cal looks at Jaime's off-speed pitches. David Freese breaks out of his little slump. They'll recap. Plus, we'll have Mike Matheny's post-game comments as well. Lots of Cardinal fans on hand. They're bundled up. We go back to the booth and Dan and Al, guys.
Well, it's a chilly night. That's why they're bundled up, Mr. Rabowski. It's cold. But you like it.
It's not as bad as I thought it would be.
I agree.
Don't have my heavy coat, which I was cursing earlier. But then I realized it's not so bad. I wouldn't want any colder.
That is why you're a gamer.
That's his 12-game hitting streak. Look at this shift they had on, so you can see why he kind of bluffed, thrown down, bunt down the third baseline, as that's the third baseman playing shortstop. Shortstop is almost behind second.
A shift on Big Papi.
Pitching away.
Yeah, they had a shift on Big Papi of the Boston Red Sox last night. He hit a home run. Next time up, he bunted down the third base line for a base hit.
That's how you change it. You know, it's just a sure hit if you can get it down.
Jason Mott is starting to throw in the Cardinals bullpen. And there's one away. It's Brandon Belt, new first baseman. Jaime Garcia, by the way, 7 1/3, 9 hits, a run. It was earned. 9 strikeouts. He did have a wild pitch and no walks. David Freese, the hitter.
And strikeouts now ties his career high, which he set last year, right here at San Francisco against the Giants.
You know, Mott wants to get right back out there after blowing to save Soriano's home run yesterday afternoon at Busch Stadium, but eventually the Cardinals would win it.
You see Jason.
Freese has homered tonight. Looks at a strike, 0-2.
My question is, do you start the inning with Mott, or leave Chimsky out there to take on a couple left-handers?
Scherholtz, Crawford, pitcher spot due up. Reaching for it, hits it down the right field line and out of play. Still, that ball carried pretty well. Freese had been 5 for his last 36 prior to the game tonight, with only 1 home run and 3 RBIs, but one game this early in the season changes things.
I'll give Mark McGuire and now John Mabry enough credit as second consecutive year Cardinals leading so many in all the important offensive categories.
2-2. We talked about it an awful lot with Zubchinski, and from the front office's perspective, the flexibility, Al, that he gives you as a potential starter. You know what he can do out of the bullpen. Very talkative guy. Got the gift of gab. There's a liner down the right field line. There's that opposite field stroke that we see normally out of David Freese. 3-hit night for the Cardinal third baseman.
Just lacks a triple now for hitting for the cycle. And you know, as much as we like to see David hit for the cycle, we'll let him do it tomorrow. You do not want to see him come up to the plate anymore tonight, unless it's in this inning.
Shane Robinson has struck out, grounded out to third, and fly to right. Down the line, the Cardinals have guys like Lance Lynn and Shelby Miller, Trevor Rosenthal, Carlos Martinez, all starters at this point. So Zubchinski's role very, very valuable from the left side. Thought about going to third. They'll get the shore out. Robinson is hitless tonight. 2 down. Shelby Miller had a good outing last night for Memphis. 21-year-old right-hander.
Can't say enough about the job that Tony Cruz has done working with Donald Jaime, but 2 relievers and shutting down an offense that isn't at full strength. They've got a lot of injuries, but still they're major leaguers and they're here for a reason.
A lot of things could happen if you have a base hit here. Tony Cruz could then eliminate the potential of Mott coming in. And because of that, McClellan now has grabbed the baseball. He'll start throwing, but all for naught. Cruz grounds out, hitless tonight. Freeze is stranded. We assume Mott is coming in. You're watching Cardinals baseball from San Francisco. Game 1 of this 2-game set. Jaime Garcia, career high in strikeouts with 9. For Cowell, the table setter, David Freese, going deep tonight. 1 of his 3 hits. And off the bench, supplying some insurance, Skip Schumacher, pinch hit. 2-run double, stayed in the game in right. And now into the ball game, it's Jason Mott. We saw him blow a save yesterday, but thanks to Yadier Molina, he picked up a win.
I would much rather pick up his 7th save than to pick up that win and take it away from another reliever, but not the case. We talked a little bit about, and this is a perfect example of how the save rule over the years has evolved. And there is some talk now of changing the save rule once again. Instead of giving it to a pitcher like here in the 9th inning, Mott inherits a 3-run lead, trying to get the final 3 outs. The official score could go back and say, okay, the more difficult pitching assignment and the real save would go to Zubchinski, because he came in with the 2 runs on base, runners at first and third, and got the final out of that inning. So that was a more difficult assignment than coming in to protect the 3-run lead. It's very subjective.
You could say the same thing about Salas too, to an extent.
Salas, came in with runners at first and second, and got an out.
And from an official scores perspective, you might say, well, you're facing Buster Posey.
Sure,
with
very good
Salas.
point. So they have tried to reward the setup guys with the holds, and it's kind of more of a something maybe not as chic as the save and maybe not as understood, but it is a very important grading out people to say how many holds can they acquire. Fastball away.
2-2. And now you look at how some of the contracts have been given out in Major League Baseball. A lot of the GMs had put a huge emphasis on those middle relievers, and at the time you say, well, you're overpaying for them. Well, I'm not so sure either if the game's on the line that you're overpaying for that.
Yeah, it's and because so many games are won and lost before you get to the closer, bridging the gap from the starter to the closer, that there's a lot of people that do put that high premium on the setup man. I will say this, to have a good bullpen, you have to have a good closer, and you better have 2 or 3 good setup men.
Three and 2 the count.
Trying to finally the cutter. And this is where it's just maybe part of the fact of making sure to get Mott back out there after blowing the save yesterday, getting him out there in a nice, good, positive mental frame of mind, and he can get a save here with effective work, getting prepared for the rest of the weekend. But you could also make the case that Zepchinski could have stayed in this game to face Sherholtz and Crawford on deck, two left-handed batters, before they used a pinch hitter. It's kind of interesting right here is it's looking like that Cruz is showing more confidence in his fastball than Mott. There's a fastball.
.14 2/3 this year by Mott, and he has struck out 16. Opponents have only hit 176 against him.
Fastball in. 10th pitch of the bat.
And it's a base hit into right. Pitch that seemed to be up. First man is reached.
Well, most left-handers are low ball hitters, and when you're throwing a fastball up at the top of the zone, that's hard to turn on. But thought I saw that was only 93. And usually after a lengthy at bat, you can say that the batter's got the timing of the pitches. Still got to find the hole, and Sherholtz did.
Brandon Crawford. Aubrey Huff has moved to the on-deck circle. Broken bat and a foul ball. That is where that cutter can be pretty nasty to a left-handed batter.
It's got him 0-2. Mentioned Crawford is, I like his defense, but still a question mark whether he'll ever hit at this level. In.
Just blew it right by him at 97. Huff will be the pinch hitter. Let's turn to our Budweiser player of the game. And it's Jaime Garcia with the 9 strikeouts. Did allow 9 hits. 1 run. It was earned. No walks tonight. Pitching into the 8th. He's our Budweiser player of the game. Aubrey Huff, a fan favorite, but has fallen at hard times. Last year really struggled. And he was one of San Francisco's MVPs back in 2010. 26 home runs that year.
Hitting 189, 1 home run, 4 RBIs. That's 2 for 19 in his last 11 games overall. Remember last year when they were trying to give playing time to Brandon Belt at first base and then put Huff out in right field, and didn't take long for that experiment not to work.
It's this time last year that the Giants had 7 walk-off wins at home and 2 against the Cardinals. Mott trying to make sure that doesn't happen tonight.
Fastball away. '98.
I know you love guys that stick with the game, and Aubrey Huff, one of those. Wasn't recruited by any 4-year college to play baseball. He walked on at a JUCO, then went on to play at the University of Miami.
Cutter.
2-2.
Got the pick by Cruz there.
been an all-star. He's won a Silver Slugger. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Fastball away.
Double play could end the game. Well, if anything, they have made Mott work, and he pitched yesterday, again tonight. Lots of pitches and a short turnaround. You wonder about availability for Jason tomorrow, early in the season.
He will be available.
I would
He's a closer mentality. 18 pitches.
say that he would be, but you never know.
Used to say Wainwright doesn't throw a complete game shutout.
Gentleman brought his glove in and out of the glove and right into the hands of a fan that did not bring his glove.
San Francisco fans have a reputation being some of the more clever fans in their statements to players. Sometimes it can be quite biting, but they will definitely boo their fellow fan who didn't miss catch a ball.
Prior to San Francisco, Hupp his entire career in the American League.
Fastball in.
2-2 is a high fly ball. Left field. Two down. Now Burris.
One of the reasons they put Burris in the 9th spot is recently he came up with a couple guys on base and the pitcher spot behind him, and he bunted to bring up the pitcher. So I think he learned a lesson, and then they also said, well, if you don't consider yourself to be a better hitter than the pitcher, we'll put the pitcher ahead of you.
Strike one. Cardinals, if they can hold on, would go to 22-15.
And continue their good winning ways on the road.
Just a game above 500 at home. Looking for win number 13 on the road. Out of play. 2 strikes.
Take this ball up and give him chase it. Threw the ball exactly where he wanted it, but Burris didn't offer. They take second base, fielder's indifference.
That's it. The Cardinals win it. A strikeout for Mott. Jason Mott picks up the save, and a big, big night for David Freese and Skip Schumacher late. 3 hits for David Freese, including a home run and a big double and 2 RBIs for Skip.
Well, you love what Skip did, but I love even more the work of Jaime Garcia as he's back on track. Let's get Wainwright tomorrow.
So Garcia gets the win, Mott the save. Stay with us. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live post-game show comes your way next.
Game is over with a Cardinal victory over the Giants in San Francisco. The very late night edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live coming up next. Cal, your thoughts?
It's past my bedtime, Pat, but you know what? It's great that the Cardinals had Jaime Garcia on the mound with the aggressiveness that he showed tonight. That's why he had so much success.
Much more from Cal coming up. Plus, the Redbirds' long, strange week continues with a 2-day trip to San Francisco. We'll break down Game 1 in the City by the Bay. Plus, a matchup between two of the best young lefties in baseball. Cal's going to tell you why Jaime Garcia came out on top tonight. Plus, we'll take you back to San Fran for Cardinal player reaction and plenty of mic'd up. Another night without Carlos Beltran. We'll give you the latest on the player of the month's ailing knee. Happy National Sea Monkey Day. Cal still has his from 1974. They're all grown up and ready to watch Cardinals live next.
Welcome to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
Big breaking ball, and it's hit down the left field line. Track, wall, gone! It's a home run for David Freese. 2-1 St. Louis.
Slump for Freese? What slump for Freese? He hits his way out of it, and he hits the home run as well. Number 8 on the season, now 28 RBIs for the St. Louis, and he powers the Cardinals past the Giants 4-1. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside our Fox Sports Midwest studio in St. Louis. It is Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live After Dark, alongside a man who gets even grumpier this late at night. Careful, Cal.
Yeah.
Cal Eldred. I'm Pat Paris. Coming up, we're going to take you back to San Francisco for Cardinal player reaction. We'll give you a little mic'd up from Mike Matheny. Going to break down Jaime Garcia's night as well and give you an update on Carlos Beltran. It was a night with just enough offense, certainly against a tough lefty in Bumgarner, but a terrific night for Jaime Garcia.
And let's realize how good Madison Bumgarner is. He just has been very, very good at home. But Jaime Garcia tonight, you could see his focus. We'll take a look at that a little bit later. But also, very good breaking balls, but his sinker had that late dip at the end, too.
He was very good. We want your thoughts. The tweet is on. If you are still awake, we want your thoughts about tonight's victory. Just tweet them to @FSMidwest, and we'll answer some of them on the air throughout the show. We act like this show is like at 4 in the morning. It was a 9-inning, fairly well-paced game.
It was.
It's just after midnight. Right now, though, let's go back to AT&T Park. Jim Hayes catching up with David Freese moments ago. He's our Mid-America Chevrolet Dealers player of the game. Jim?
3 hits on the night for David Freese, including a solo homer that broke a 1-all tie. You're facing a very tough pitcher. You got something inside, and you handled it. Take us through that at-bat.
Yeah, he's a guy that likes to pound guys in. You got to be conscious that he'll go away too. So you just got to be ready, have an approach, and you know, it's a big hit for Jaime. You know, he pitched his tail off, and we're glad that he got the win.
Yeah, how nasty was he? 9 strikeouts tonight.
Yeah, nasty. I mean, when he's on, he's virtually unhittable, and you know, that type of outing is what we expect out of him, and you know, he expects it out of himself. So it's good to see.
On the other side, Bumgarner, very good pitcher. What is the approach against him? What are you looking to try to do?
I mean, you try and just get something to hit, but he doesn't let you hit too much. You know, he crossfires it in there pretty good, so you just got to battle, and you know, that's what Big Mac and Mabes, they teach. You know, just get up there and grind ABs, and you know, we did that tonight. You
had a big night, a rough homestand offensively for you. How do you battle through that?
I don't know if rough's the right word, but
I didn't want to use the numbers. Over 60.
Right. Yeah. You keep pushing, you know, and you gotta give it up to our teammates. You know, we root on each other, and you know, they kept pushing me, patting me on the butt, and you know, just keep pushing, you know, and it paid off tonight.
Thanks for the time.
All right, thanks, Kat.
David Freese, guys, we send it back to you.
It's time to pop the collars. Apparently, there in San Francisco.
A little chilly, maybe.
A little chilly there.
He's got to pop it up like that, like our good friend Jim Hayes does in San Francisco.
That's what Jim does, and so we'll follow suit. Mr. Freese, certainly you wouldn't expect an 0 for 16 to go much more than 0 for 17, which it actually got to 0 for 17, but David Freese never lets his defense get away from him.
He never does, and he consistently comes in on the ball, and he's one of the best in the league at it. He's also one of the best in the league at this, Pat. Driving the baseball, he gets good extension, and on his home run also, even though he was safe, Pat, I don't think he tagged him.
Absolutely didn't. And Freezer was trying to help the umpire there. He didn't tag him until about now, and he was safe. But you know what? It was a bang-bang play. There's no bang-bang play about this one. He waited on that breaking ball, and he hit it a long way.
He should really treat those emergency people much better than that, than breaking their ambulance window.
Made them scatter there, I believe. And then, how about this, just for good measure, already had a single and a home run. He hits the double the opposite way. We've seen this before, going to right field.
Well, and what he's able to do is take what they give him in the at-bat. The breaking ball was out front. He reached out and got that. This pitch is away. He keeps his weight back. You see him drive through the baseball. He doesn't pull off of it and drives it down the right field line. Maybe could have gone 3, but David, let's stay healthy and stop at second base.
Let's get back to the booth in San Francisco. Dan McLaughlin, and the only man to escape from Alcatraz, says so right there in my teleprompter. That's Al Raboski. They rejoin us now to put a wrap on this one. Guys, a nice win tonight for the Cardinals all the way around.
It certainly was. The birds are here, so that means that this game is over. You can see them flying around right behind us.
It was one of my cellmates at Alcatraz.
I can tell, Al.
The Birdman of Alcatraz?
Yes, I've heard of him.
Good movie.
Well, let's talk a little bit about nice segue, Al. My goodness, was that nice.
Burt Lancaster.
Wow. Anything else? You are on it right now.
The water's really cold.
All right, let's talk about Jaime Garcia. Jaime Garcia, as Cal said, kept the ball down in the zone. We talked about it during the night. The fact is he was very good with 9 strikeouts, and good to see him back on track.
No doubt about it, and you are right. When he keeps the ball down, he has terrific movement. He had such a good curveball here tonight and utilized it, the sliders, the cutters. Had the 9 strikeouts. That ties a career high that he set last year here at San Francisco. So right now he's got the strikeout pitch and we're working against the Giants.
We'll take a look at Adam Wainwright and Matt Cain coming up later in the show. Great matchup tomorrow afternoon, and let's send it back to you.
All right, we'll look for some more Burt Lancaster references a little later on as well. Thanks, guys. Do appreciate it. Flashing back, April 9, 2011, Jaime Garcia, only other start in San Francisco, the lefty, lights out. Spread out 4 hits across 6 innings and allowed just 1 earned run while striking out a career-high 9 batters. And the Redbirds' 3-2 walk-off loss that day to the Giants. Tonight, as you look at the highlights in the first inning, the Cardinals get on the board thanks to Alan Craig. Yeah, it's just a little ground out here, but how about RBIs in 11 of the 13 games he's played in this season, Cal. He's an RBI machine in limited play because of the injury.
Timely hitting, but don't forget it takes somebody getting on in front of him for those RBIs to happen.
They certainly did get on. This is that play in the fourth. 0 for 17. The slump no more as David Freese with the single. Should have been a double. Wrong call, as the out call is made at second base, but clearly safe. Replay.
I think maybe he just didn't want to run the bases. He didn't want to run until he got tagged. But, yes, I'm with you. How about the replay?
How about the replay? You know, Madison Bumgarner, well, we knew he was good. How about 8 straight wins? He's trying to become just the 4th Giants pitcher to win 9 straight at home. Fortunately, the Cardinals were able to get the win tonight against him.
And what you saw, eventually they got enough pitches up in the zone because he was down and away with that fastball and then followed it with his slider. He's very tough.
And another young lefty who's very impressive, and he was really on tonight in that timeout.
You saw him stay in the bottom part of the zone. Later on in the ball game, he does get some outs up in the zone, but everything looks like it's coming out of the same plane, going downhill. It's either sinking away or breaking down in there.
Still 1-0, bottom of the 6th. Buster Posey up with runners on first and third. And these are a couple of little chink hits and dinks and dunks by the Giants. That wasn't a cheap hit by Posey. But the point is that they were fortunate to get a run off Jaime Garcia. They did it there in the 6th.
Well, and Buster Posey's a 4-hole hitter for a reason because he sees the mistakes and doesn't miss them.
But David Freese unties the game. Turns out to be the game-winning RBI as well. The solo home run to left first since May 7th for Freese, and the Cards do have that 2-1 lead.
And they've got the lineup going there in the dugout.
We love
high
seeing
fives.
that. Yeah, Cards add a couple of big insurance runs in the 8th. 2 on for pinch hitter Skip Schumacher, goes the other way. It's a 2-run double, 4-1 St. Louis, all 4 charged to Bumgarner.
And Skip Schumacher is going right at the plate when you see him take the pitch away and drive the ball, not a lazy fly ball to left, driving the ball.
And then it's Jaime Garcia, after scoring a run, running the bases, comes out in the bottom of the 8th, and he will get the strikeout, equals his career high with 9 that he also had 9 the last time he started in San Francisco last year. The bullpen comes in, does its job, as well as Salas gets an out, Zapchinski gets an out, and then Mott goes all 3 outs in the 9th inning to pick up his 7th save in the end for Garcia. How about his first win since the 18th of April, so it's been a little while since he was able to pick up a victory.
And the one thing, let's remember, those 2 outs that were gotten in the 8th inning by Salas and Sapchinski, that was a big out. For Fernando Salas, what I saw from him, and Al talked about it during the ballgame, he came out and got strike 1 right away with a good slider. The other 2 were fastballs not quite located where he wanted them, but he got an out. His confidence is building. And Sapchinski comes in, those left-handers just get to throw 1 pitch and get out, so it's a great thing.
More on Jaime Garcia coming up a little later on here on Cardinals Live. As you no doubt noticed, Carlos Beltran not in the starting lineup for the 3rd straight game with a sore knee. He was available to pinch hit but did not get in the game, and manager Mike Matheny says he's very close to returning to the starting 9.
Yeah, I've been hoping he'll be available for 162 of them, but that hasn't quite worked, and we knew that wasn't going to work going in. So we'll take him when, and he's been real smart. I mean, he could be going out there, but, knowing this weather too, his knee doesn't react as well, and it's hard to get it going. So give him another day, and we'll check him out tomorrow.
And perhaps the end of Mike's comments there are the most important because it was so chilly tonight, and you've got a guy that's up there in age, certainly in Carlos Beltran, with the knee problem. I think a lot of us expected him back today, but with the weather, it'll be tomorrow.
You can see the breath coming out of the guys, out of their mouths and their noses when they're running. But the key thing is, if we could have Carlos Beltran for the 142 games that he played last year, I think the Cardinal organization, Mike Matheny, and the rest of the coaching staff would be ecstatic. So would the fans.
Yeah, if he keeps up those kind of numbers for 142 games, you're talking an MVP candidate if he stays that healthy. Jaime Garcia certainly with one of his best starts of the season tonight in San Francisco. More on him coming up next.
Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live is brought to you by Carrier. For all your heating and cooling needs, turn to the experts at CarrierComfortTeam.com. And by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win.
Here's our Farmers Report card looking at 2 of the best young pitchers in the game right now squaring off, and they both happen to be left-handed. We're talking about Jaime Garcia and Madison Bumgarner, and these are their numbers and their NL ranks before tonight's game. And these are guys that are under 25 years old. Those are very impressive numbers.
Well, and they're very, very similar, too. You look at the innings pitched. These kids have logged a lot of innings. I call them kids. Can I call them kids, Pat?
Absolutely.
They're 25 and under. But also, just their stuff. You look at this and think, you know what? They're going to duplicate these numbers and do even more.
And he had a lot of stuff working well because he got 9 strikeouts. It equals his career high. He's done it 3 times now in his career, 2 times in San Francisco.
Well, and we're going to take a look at this a little later because it's not just one way he got strikeouts. So he was using all of his pitches to get those strikeouts.
And against the Giants, Jaime really has some pretty impressive numbers. Too bad the Giants aren't in our division in a lot of ways. Because now in the games against them, 4 in total. He's 2-1. He's got 1 complete game, but he's gone over 7 innings in each of those starts, and his ERA is a very impressive 1.27.
From the extra base hits allowed, we saw Buster Posey's ground ball. It was basically a ground ball down the right field line. He didn't mean to hit that pitch where he hit it, but you really have to give Jaime a lot of credit that he loves to pitch in San Francisco, and those numbers show it.
It seems like from start to start, there are pitches that are better, but it's not always the same pitches for Jaime Garcia. Well, tonight we noticed certainly that his fastball was there, and that set up a lot of pitches, and we'll talk more about that. But his curveball was outstanding right from the get-go.
All the way through the minor leagues, they talked about Jaime Garcia's curveball. And you see tonight the curveball that obviously the coaches in the Cardinal organization and the minor league organization saw from Jaime Garcia. You see, it doesn't matter left-handed or right-handed hitters in there, Pat. They're swinging and missing, taking hacks like that one. Not a bad hack. That's a bad hack right there. But they just don't see it. It's breaking late. It's diving down deep. Even the breaking balls that are up, they're not really squaring up. That's what's impressive about a very good curveball. It's not the true 12-6. It's got a little bit of tilt to it, but it's a very late-breaking curveball.
It certainly is, and he obviously has the same arm slot and the same mechanics and motion, and so it really does fool the hitters. There's one other part of Jaime Garcia's game that you're talking about a young pitcher that's still developing, and let's not forget, you know, this is just his 3rd year as a starter in Major League Baseball, and he's still learning. We see from time to time a guy that might slump his shoulders, a guy that might not be quite there, and he'll admit himself that from time to time he has a lapse of concentration.
Yeah, and I think what we're trying to do is I wish we could really truly show you a long video piece of Jaime when he pitched against the Houston Astros in Houston. You saw a question in his face. You saw maybe I'm not sure what's going to happen, but tonight, Don Brown deal.
Don Brown deal.
We're going to show tonight. You could see the focus on his face. You could see what he needed to do. He knew what he needed to do. And then Crawford in the 2nd inning, he comes back with a nice breaking ball for a strike. Now you can see the focus in his face, Pat, as he's walking off the mound. He knows, you know what, this is just the beginning of the game. You go to the 4th inning, and in the 4th inning, Buster Posey breaks out that little ground ball down the line.
Couldn't place it any better, but he wasn't trying, but it went there.
Lance gave it a good effort, but he was not able to get it. Now you got a double. Now what's he going to do? Sometimes if he's not focusing, he will fall apart here. Not tonight. He's got the focus. With Brett Pill, he throws that fastball, then he goes to the breaking ball, and then comes back to the disappearing sinker. He threw that sinker, curveball, sinker. That's how he used those 3 pitches. Then the next hitter, he comes with Sherholtz, knows he's looking for the slider, but throws it out of the zone. Then the fastball in, and 2 breaking balls. And give Tony Cruz credit right here. The breaking ball before that, Posey took 3rd base simply because the ball got past him. Jaime had enough confidence to throw it again, got the strikeout.
And Ship Daddy tweeted at us. The tweet is on, and Ship Daddy agrees with you. When Jaime is on and has the confidence that he did tonight, I think he's one of the best southpaws in the game. He might even be one of the best pitchers in the game, young pitchers, if he's got it going like he did tonight in either league.
And we saw 2 of the best in the game of baseball tonight in Bumgarner and Garcia. Good enough for the Cardinals. Jaime came out on top.
I want to ask you real quick, how do you get this kind of repetition from him? Is it mainly up here? I mean, is that the issue?
It is mental, and it's going certain places like in Houston and having success there. He has to work on it, telling himself he's going to go to Houston and he's going to pitch good.
Because he'll have to go there again. That's the team you're going to play a lot this year.
Yes.
Not next year.
No.
This year. Mike Matheny as a Giant and mic'd up. It's all coming up next.